welcome back to my channel. My name is Malachi Gothic, and if you're new here, what I like to do is a bunch of different artsy things, and if you're not new, thank you so much for coming back. It's wonderful to have you again. And today we are doing something kind of fun. I'm going to show you how I made these daffodil earrings that I gave to my mom for Mother's Day. I've never worked with clay before. I have made jewelry. I make jewelry. I typically stick in the more of like chainmail style. So dragon scales, chainmail, or string beads, like, you know, kind of any of that. I did teach a class locally for a little while and had to do leather chokers, which was really fun. But clay, other than working with it when I was like a little kid and made those really big, chunky, awkward, like foam clay beads, I remember those, Mom, they were pink and yellow. I don't know that I've worked with clay since. So I wanted to make something fun for my mom for Mother's Day, and I chose daffodil earrings. And there's a reason why. So my mom's birthday was back in April, and she sent me this absolutely adorable picture of her picking daffodils, like after she'd picked daffodils, holding this beautiful bouquet. So here is, I did ask if I could share this picture. Here is my beautiful mother with all of her daffodils. Yellow is her favorite color. I don't know that daffodils are her favorite, but I think daffodils are her favorite flower. She likes them a lot. They're just bright, they're spring, they are joy, and they make me think of my mom, and I think she'd really like them. So I decided to figure out how to make clay daffodils as earrings, and it actually kind of was harder than I expected to get the result that I wanted. So yeah, I'm gonna show you that process, how I made them. And actually several of my friends like them so much, I might be making more of these to give to friends because they turned out really cute. So without further ado, let me show you how I made clay earrings so I can teach you what not to do more than what to do, and maybe inspire you to make a little craft for yourself. But without further ado, let's get into it.
So the clay that I'm using for this is Sculpey 3, but I am using two colors only, yellow and white. I pulled out the orange and red because I honestly thought I might, use those colors. I thought I was going to be really ambitious, do a bunch of fun gradients. That did not end up happening. The tools I used are just standard clay sculpting tools that I typically use for my special effects makeups when I'm dealing with scar wax and stuff, but they really are just standard sculpting tools. This is how I decided to begin. And notice, I pick up an incredibly tiny piece of clay. Yeah, for some reason, I really thought that I was going to make these super tiny, which just did not end up happening. I have watched a lot of videos of people who create clay earrings to sell at markets and how they process flower petals specifically, and thought I understood the videos. I did not. Obviously, I didn't go back and reference them. I was just trying to figure this out, but I tried to, get a whole setup going, make the different sizes of the balls all consistent so I could make the petals from them. I eventually realized very quickly that going small, especially for this not being something I do regularly, was not going to be the good idea. So I decided to go a little bit bigger. I think I actually ended up on a good size, and that's kind of the size that I stuck with. But word of advice, don't go tiny. Tiny is really hard. It's not hard to control. It's hard to get detail. It's just honestly more trouble than it's worth if you do not know what you're doing. My other mistake, after going way too small, went a little bit bigger, is I didn't put the detail I wanted in the petals when I made the petals. I tried to build the whole flower first and then put the details in. This also failed. I ended up just squishing detail I had put into the other petals, squishing the whole thing all together, and just generally this didn't work out well. So I scrapped this and went in an entirely new direction. The new direction was take moderately sized balls of clay and squish them into a pointy oval shape, and by that I mean it's mostly an oval, but you kind of make it pointy on one end, and then use the very long metal stick tool, I don't know its real name, but using that very lightly in the clay to make grooves, because I really wanted the petals to be textured. I thought it would add an element of realism, I thought it would make it look a little bit nicer, a little bit fancier, and because daffodils do have very textured petals, and I wanted to kind of be as true to the flower as I could in my very novice clay creation. I did this to each individual petal before I even thought about putting any of them together. To actually assemble the base of the flower, I took a very, very small circle of clay and I stuck petals onto it. I did my petals in pairs, so I didn't stack them in like a fan circle. I decided to stack them two at a time opposite each other. So I did two and then turned and angled two and then turned and angled and did the last two. I tried to lightly press down as I added each petal. I did not score or do any other kind of joining method for these. I'm not sure if I should have. They honestly seem to have held up just fine, but maybe that would be something to consider in future iterations. For the yellow centerpiece, I thought the plain yellow clay was too bright, so I mixed it with a little bit of white so that it would become a little bit more of a soft pastel yellow. And then I rolled it into a log and then tried to kind of form it into a cup shape and just collapse one end. So that ended up being pretty thick, but it kind of worked out. And then I put it on the end of a ball tool and squished it into the center of the flower. I tried to get a little fancy and like fan out the edges of the yellow cup a little bit. It honestly just made it look messy. Future iterations, I didn't do that, and the cleaner look just actually looks so much better. It's really about towing that fine line between realism, detail, and messy, especially with kind of this scale. For the little stem pistil bits in the center, I used the original just plain yellow clay because I wanted that darker color and rolled it out into a super thin log and then cut it into small sections and stuck them using the same sharp, thin, pointy metal tool into the center of the flower. These, in this first one, I made them way too tall to prevent breaking because these things are really, really fragile. They need to be shorter than the yellow cup. If they're taller, they poke out and are much more likely to get broken, but in future iterations, I made them shorter, and those ones, of the pieces that I have not broken and have held up the best.
So, here is the little flower I have. It's a little rough around the edges, but you know what? I think it looks like a daffodil. And I still have plenty of white clay left. So I definitely got better in my method. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the method of the yellow bit in the center. I think that could be refined. And I think I probably should squish the flower petals down a little bit more. The good news is I think I'm just gonna kind of keep making daffodils until I get them to look right, and hopefully then there's two that like go really well with each other, because I'd argue these are pretty heavy right now. Some of the petals can probably be a little bit thinner, so I think that's definitely something I can work on, and I think the center just needs to be a little bit prettier. But like, I made a little flower, so I think it's time for round two. I'm so scared. Okay.
This second flower definitely felt like it went much faster, mostly because I didn't have to start over a bunch of times because I didn't know what I was doing. I thought I had things a little bit more figured out. I tried to go a little bit smaller, which was kind of its own challenge because I wanted to make the petals thinner but still actually, support the details that I wanted to put in them and also eventually be stable enough to hang as earrings because I wasn't sure how I was going to do the attachments quite yet. But just the petals for this flower took around 15 minutes, which arguably is still pretty quick. I think it definitely felt like it went by a much faster, and I do think I improved upon that time as I went through it. But generally, I just tried to make this flower smaller, and I also tried to take the metal tool closer to the parchment paper that I have on my workspace as I got to the edge of the flower, trying to get a little bit of maybe some ripply waves in the very edge of the flower just so that those petals weren't quite so uniform. I tried something a little different when I made the centerpiece for this flower, and that's I kind of rolled it into an arc shape before I eventually formed it into the cylinder that it would be for the center. I don't think this was entirely a bad idea. However, it kind of made the center too big. I think the centerpiece that I picked for this flower that I made was just too large to begin with. It didn't quite sit too well. I was trying to make softer rolls and not be as fine-grained as I was in the detail of the previous one. It's not bad, but I definitely think even this flower still has significant room for improvement.
So this one, I think I nailed the far more delicate yellow petals.
However, the problem with this one is I don't know how much I like the yellow cup I did for the daffodil. I feel like the first one I did is much cuter. It's much taller. It just sits better. This one's not quite as cute. But honestly, I still think it looks like a daffodil. Like, I think you still know what it is. The yellow cup also ended up a little bit more yellow. I didn't have enough, so I had to make some more. So it's not going to be a consistent color. So that's arguably probably a problem. I put the pistils in there, much cleaner. I don't know how consistent my petal shapes are. And these petals, because they are flimsier, are not keeping their shape as well. So this one might be one that I have to attach something to when I bake it, as far as attach something to. Like, stick little teeny tiny balls of tinfoil under the petals to ensure they keep their curve or something like that. So second time is not quite the charm, but I guess I will keep making these and see how this goes. Maybe we'll get a progression of, do I actually get, oh no, better at something if I practice it instead of just do it chaotically once and say I'm fine. So yeah, we will, I don't know how long those took me. I also got it a little bit smaller. I think I like this size a whole lot more. So I think I'm going to stick with around this size of the white petals, except I think that was the better yellow cup. But I don't really know what I did that made that one so different. So time for round 3. You know, I might be getting the hang of this, because while these two came out super differently, these two I think came out pretty consistently, and I think I'm back to the center cup being really what I liked. This one, I was really trying to get more texture on the petals, and while I think some of these petals look really great, this center cup is just an absolute disaster. So I genuinely think this might be one of my best ones yet. I think this one looks really cute. One of the things I'm really unsure about is how smushed the different clay textures need to be in order for them to stick in the oven. So that'll be part of an experiment. And I tried to make a little one over here, and this thing, it's so sad. It's so, okay. Well, okay, I've already, well, if I can ever pick it up without smushing it. Oh, goodness. Okay, so it is the saddest little thing. It's so cute. It really reminds me of, like, a pendant on a necklace I had when I was really little. So these are intended for my mom. I don't think my mom wears earrings this big. So, you know, maybe this will just be a cute thing for me that makes me think of her. But we'll see. I think ideally if I could get it to be a little bit smaller, that would be something more along the lines of what she would wear. But who knows? Maybe she'd wear these for me. We'll see. That's my intention. So far, I think these two look really good as a set. Another thing I've done is I've made these little pistil stems like much smaller, so they're more in line with the cup height. This one is close. These are like way too tall. I may just take this one apart and smoosh it back into clay to try to use again. I think I want to try to make at least 2 more, just so I can try to pick between them for like a good pair of them. This was a fun experiment. I'm definitely not making them this small. I think trying to go bigger was 100% the right move. These are earrings that I think are super cute. I think these would be super cute for earrings. I've gotten into wearing a lot bigger earrings. I think they're really fun. And I think these are a great size. So yeah, I'm still working on it. And I think if we look at the progression, I think I'm getting better. If we ignore that one, take this one out of the equation, I think I'm seeing some progress and more consistency. That's most important. I think these are getting much more consistent. So time to keep making daffodils. So I've got 2 more daffodils here. If you'll notice, the little one is gone. The little one got sacrificed to make the full cup of, I think this one. Some of this needs to be smoothed out a little bit, which is really hard with these tiny tools. These two I think go really well together. I think those two, because of the weird detail on the cup, go really well together. Something I didn't think about, which I should have, is these need to have a hole. So I need to figure out how to hang them if I actually want them to be earrings. And I don't know why my thought was originally I was going to mount something to the back, but I guess technically it should go into one of the petals. I just need to pick, I think, the thickest petal on each flower, and that will ensure that, you know, hopefully they're strong and stable. So for this one, I think it's gonna be this one, and I'm just planning on poking it with this. So the question is, would it look better if they hang from the petal like that, or would it look better if it came from the opening there and I basically just glue something to the back? I might actually go get some of my earring hooks and just lay it out and see what I think. But I'm quite pleased. I think I might stop here and bake these because I've got these two that I think go together, those two that I think go together quite well. And then I don't like this one. This one, the cup, I was just trying a little too much with the texture. So I think I'm going to try to smooth out the cup of the daffodil on these guys and figure out where to stamp. If I want to poke a hole in the flower or if I want to glue it to the back, we will see. But I honestly think these are really, really cute. And I did ask my mom if she likes if she's okay with larger earrings. And she said yes, she likes unique and fun ones. So I think these qualify. So I'm very excited. I definitely just want to smooth those up a little bit and figure out how to put them on the hooks. Luckily, I was smart enough to remember that I needed to poke my hole before they got baked, and I did decide to go forward with hanging it from the join section of some of the petals. This also gives me the benefit of technically having the thickness of 2 petals that it's going through if I pick the right spot. So I spent a little bit of time kind of manipulating the flower in my hand, trying to look at it and figure out not only what would be the sturdiest connection, but also what would be the best angle for the flower to hang. And then with it in my hand, I used the very sharp metal tool to poke a hole clean through. And I tried to kind of round out the edges a little bit just to widen it a tad. I'm not sure it mattered too much, and I did make sure that the earring post, you know, one of the pieces of jewelry I was considering using, fit through it to kind of help me make that hole. And I proceeded to do this for each flower. The oven is preheating. I have these on my parchment paper. I've gone through again, made sure all the holes are nice and wide, and we're going to bake them at 275 for like 15 minutes according to the directions. I'm a little concerned because the thickness at the base is greater than 6 millimeters, and it says 15 minutes for every 6 millimeters, but the petals are not that thick, so we'll see. We're going to start with probably 10 minutes and go from there. Maybe I'll just shoot for 15. I think it'll be okay. So, oh, my camera is wobbly. Okay. These just came out of the oven and, well, not just because obviously I can hold them. I think they held up super well. They're super cute. All the petals still look really, really nice. And so I was saying that I think this one will go better with this one. Except from a size perspective, I don't know, that's what I'm debating, is I think it would be better to match the daffodils up by size. And I'm gonna go back to using my little pointy tool. I think these two are better in size and these two are better in size than if you look at them this way. Because while these two are about the same size, this one feels significantly smaller than that one. Not that it really matters because I'm just gonna put them all on earrings and then I can kind of mix and match once they're there. But yeah, I put holes in all of them. Some of them are a little bit smaller than others. These are the gold jump rings I have. I may have more. These are the first ones I was able to find. And I am a little worried that I did not check the size of these jump rings against the holes that I made, which is my bad. So I may need to go get some more jump rings. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I hope not, because part of the intention was that I have all of the materials for this already. But we will find out, figure it out, and go from there. Honestly, if not, most of these I poked with, yeah. So if the jump rings don't fit, I'm just gonna use these these loops that I have because these should fit through most of the holes, and I will create my own loop that way. Since I know that this fits through all of these holes, since I made the holes with this tool. So, time to, I guess, try to string these up. As I suspected, these jump rings were definitely not the right size, and that's okay. That's why I had a backup plan. So that backup plan ended up working perfectly. Woo, as I almost knock over all my jump rings. This is the same method that I do I do a variety of like precious gem earrings. And when they come in those like little vertical dagger hole forms and have a hole through them, this is a similar method to how I attach those. So these are, I think, so cute. These are the first two I did. Like the first two that I made as far as daffodils. I think I like the extra detail and texture. I just think this one's a little clunky. That one's almost a little too textured. The funny thing is I think my mom would probably like this one more because she would say it's artsy and expressive. And then we get to these two. And these are the smaller, but I think came out so clean and so cute. I'm really happy I went ahead and did all the texture on the petals. I think it makes them look really, really nice. And I really do like the hanging diagonally. For some reason, I think it just makes them look more floral and less fake, even though they are fake. I'm not sure. And then these are the slightly larger ones. These ones are interesting. This one feels heavier than this one, even though this one's bigger. And I think the base of this one, like these petals, were actually just thicker. So now to decide which ones to give my mom. I'm leaning towards these. I think these two are the best pair. I think they look the nicest. Like the petals in this one are just a little large and like clunky. I think these have some of the really pretty scalloping on the edges. I think overall they just turned out really, really nice. And so I think I'm going to package up these two for my mom for Mother's Day. So I'm super, super excited, and let me show you what they look like on me. And I'm keeping these two for myself. Obviously, I mean, I'm keeping those as well, but I think I'm gonna keep these two for myself. So let me show you what I look like wearing these. I seriously wish I was recording when I put them on because my reaction was so cute. But I think these are just absolutely to die for. They're so cute. And I think from a distance, you can tell exactly what they are, and you can't see all of the weird little imperfections in them. They're really not that heavy. I am incredibly proud of myself, and I think my mom's gonna love them. I think they're so cute. They're so spring. And yeah, now I have daffodil earrings.
Obviously, I want to make sure this gets to her safely, and so in order to do that, or at least place the blame on if it breaks on me, I wanted to pack it. So I cut a scrap of cardboard off of a box that we had. I picked it because it was red and I thought that was pretty. And I began to butcher it and fold it up in some sort of a shape that I thought would accommodate the flowers. This had no measurements, no planning. I should have scored the cardboard instead of just folding it, but I didn't, because scoring it kind of creates that natural groove that cardboard wants to follow. I didn't do that. I just folded it, which meant I fought it a little bit harder, but just kind of used my general knowledge of how boxes are often constructed to put it together.
So while prepping and packing, I'm kind of sad but not surprised to notice that actually the little pistils in the center of the flower, only one of them is there still, the other ones have fallen off. So these are clearly probably not the most sound. I do think those are some of the ones that were a little bit taller than the cup. That's partially why I'm trying to go to such lengths to make sure that these things are stable. So I have, I believe these were the ones that I wanted to give to my mom. And so I have this little earring card. And so we're gonna get them all situated on this card. And then I'm going to go rummage through my tissue paper storage and find good tissue paper to pack this box with. Peanut has joined me on my chair. And so there they are on their little card, looking all professional. And I have my hot glue gun heating up, so we are going to get this box constructed. I literally just broke another one. Luckily, this is one that I wasn't going to give away, but yeah, these little dudes snap super easily. So we are going to try to take the most care of them, and at least I now have a little box in which to keep them, assuming it actually still closes, question mark. I might have pushed the sides in a little too much. There we go, that closes. And I'm gonna probably tape it shut. But I am just scared of these things breaking in the mail, so I'm gonna go get some tissue. So I have some orange tissue paper to be the styling part, and then I have some of this. And this is a really great packing material. Kind of when you fluff it up, it gets this honeycomb texture,
oops, as I'm ripping it. Because basically the most important part of packing is creating cushioning and kind of something that will transfer the energy. If this gets knocked or shaken around, that this will take the energy instead of what I'm trying to protect. The other thing is I'm planning on putting it in like a mailer. Like I'm not literally just sticking a packing label on this box. There's gonna be cards and other things in the package, so I'm not too worried, but I would like to, you know, nice presentation, trying to make sure that I do not gift my mother something damaged. I'm sorry if the sounds of this are atrocious. I don't have yellow tissue paper, but I do have this nice orange, and I thought that that kind of went sort of with the daffodil, sort of with the spring vibe we're going for. If I break one of these little stem things while I'm putting these in here, I will be so sad. So I made a bunch of business cards a while ago because I've been doing some local jewelry stuff, and I just think my mom would find it kind of cute if I included one of these in this package. So I want to put my little business card right on top and then seal it up. I think that should be good. I'm not too worried. I don't want to deal with the direct compression. I don't know. I am a chronic overthinker. Also, if you're wondering why this video, I'm pretty sure I said it in the intro, is so late comparison to when Mother's Day actually is, it's so that because my mother watches my videos, so hi Mom, I want to make sure that this gets to her and she has the joy of opening it and receiving it without it being spoiled for her by my channel. So we're going to hope that these get there safe in my weirdly little constructed box. And now I get to go ship these off. So that's how I made them. I do have a few pictures of my mom when she received them because I did mail these. My parents are out of state. So I did mail them. So here's a picture of her wearing them, and I think she likes them very, very much. She said it feels like spring on her ears, which I agree. So I think these turned out super, super cute. Honestly, I might continue with other clay crafts in the future. Clay is really fun. Sculpting is something that I haven't ever done much, even though, like, you know, I've done like EVA foam stuff for cosplays, but that's like different because it's very structural. This is much more artistic, and I like sculpting. It's not something I've ever really done much, so we tried out a new skill, and I think it went pretty well. So if you want to stick around and see what other kind of crazy, weird, fun, cute, artsy crafts I have, please hit subscribe. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. Leave a like button, tell the algorithm that, you know, this video is kind of fun. But yeah, that's honestly all I have for you. This is a just fun little what I made my mom for Mother's Day, even though this video is going up 2 weeks after Mother's Day happened. But that's so I can continue to work and try to get ahead on some of my content so that I can work on some bigger projects in the background. So thank you so much for watching. It means the world. Leave a comment down below. What's your favorite flower? And with that, I'll see you in the next one.